Hello, this is Rachida Dux. Today we're doing Mille Feuille. Since we did already the puff pastry, especially the inverted one, which is so tasty, and then we did the cream pastry like Crème pâtissière, now we're going to combine them and assemble the Mille Feuille. And it's absolutely amazing. As a child, I grew up eating it during my school break, and now I'm craving for this pastry a lot. So I thought, let me show you how it's done. And also my version, for some reason, is better than the version I was eating when I was a child. This pastry, it's kind of difficult to find it fresh and tasty in the Washington area. So I think you should learn how to make it, and you're going to appreciate it. You remember we had some pastry cream in the refrigerator, so all you have to do, get it out, and we're going to use a mixer or just a regular whisk, and we're going to mix it until it's fluffy, pourable, and we can pipe it on the puff pastry. Now you can see it's ready, and you can see all these thousands and thousands of vanilla beans. Using a pastry bag, we're going to pipe this cream on the top of the puff pastry. Get the puff pastry from the refrigerator. Normally make my own. There is a link to the recipe, the one I like to use for this cake, and stretch it into a perfect rectangle as much as you can. We want the length, we want the height to be around 3 millimeters, which is an 1/8 of an inch. I'm using a special unique baking sheet called Puff Pastry Baking Sheet System. The professional pastry chefs, they use it heavily to control the thickness of the puff pastry, but you don't have to use it. It's like a giant box, and the thickness everywhere is 9 millimeters, 3/8 of an inch. But for you guys, you just use regular baking sheet, and that will be enough. Place the parchment paper on the baking sheet, then dust it with powdered sugar. Please be generous with the powdered sugar, because that step is very important. It will allow the dough to be caramelized and has that beautiful mahogany brown caramelized color. So it's very important. Then you place the dough on the top of the sugar. Then you're going to dust the dough again with a lot of powdered sugar. Then you place the baking sheet on the top of the dough to make sure that the dough does not rise too high. Puff pastry in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes at 425 until it's golden brown. It's really important, so you have that beautiful caramelized look. Once you get it out of the oven, wait a few minutes until it cools down, but still warm, so it's easier to cut. Now you're going to cut it into any shape you want. Traditionally, the Mille Feuille or Napoleon is a rectangle. It has this rectangle shape. So you may cut it in a big rectangle like 6 by 2 inches or 3 inches by 2 inches. So it's up to you to cut it any way you want. Right now we're going to assemble the cake. So all you have to do, put the first pastry layer and then put the pastry cream using a pastry bag or just a spatula, and keep doing it until you have 3 layers from each one of them. And for the decoration, we're just going to use powdered sugar on the top of it. You can use any design, it's up to you. Continue doing the same thing for the small portion. Take the leftover from the puff pastry and from the cream and layer them in a cup, in a glass. That way you don't, you can use the leftover and you have no waste, and somebody in the family will enjoy it. So right now we're going to start the assembly, the traditional Mille Feuille, and for that we need the white glaze. And here I'm using just plain powdered sugar with some lemon juice, just enough lemon juice so it's pourable, it's not too liquid, and it's not too pasty. And instead of lemon juice, actually I realized it's better to use milk so you don't have that lemon flavor quite strong on the glaze. So we're going to continue assembling the cake the same way we did before, except that the last layer we're going to put the white glaze on it. And to do that, pour the white glaze on a plastic bag, a sandwich bag, put a little bit hole in it, and make sure it's very, very small so you don't have a mess, and just spread it with a spatula and let it sit until it hardens. And here we're going to use just plain dark chocolate, melted dark chocolate. Put it again in a small plastic bag and make your own design, the traditional Mille Feuille design, and that's it. Okay, we're going to try one of them. So, well, this one here with the sugar powder, it's kind of the new way for the last 10-15 years. But before, like 100 years ago, they just put the white sugar and a little bit of dark chocolate on it. The way to cut it is kind of messy. Okay, got it. Very, very nice. You know what? It's better than the one I had as a child. Very nice. I hope you like it. By the way, if you don't follow me on Instagram, please do, because normally when I publish a video on YouTube, I make different variation of the same cake and I put them in tiny little videos. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you follow me so you can see other versions of this cake. Normally when you make the puff pastry, I would not recommend it to freeze it. Try to use it right away. Assemble your cake or eat it right away in another project. But this time I recommend you, when you make the puff pastry, cut it in the portion you want or in the dimensions. I like always to cut this size right here because it's easy to handle, and freeze it. Put it between plastic sheet or plastic bag and you freeze it. It should be fine. Then when you make the cream pastry, also you can freeze it for a couple days. I'm not recommending you to freeze it, but you can. And then the day when you want to assemble the mille feuille, get them out, assemble the cake, and you can also freeze it for a day or two. I did it and it works. I don't recommend it, but it did work. So I hope you enjoy this cake, and please subscribe and check that notification bell so you will be notified for the next video. Thank you. I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.